Hey everybody, I'm Dave with Grow in the Home Garden. Today I'm going to go through and try something. This is completely experimental and it may not even pan out. It's magnolia cuttings, and these probably came from a magnolia like the Little Gem Magnolia, which is a dwarf variety that doesn't get as huge as the Magnolia grandiflora that you commonly hear of in the South. And what happened is over Thanksgiving, I was up in my in-laws' house, and their neighbor has a pretty nice landscaping border area that they put together with a combination of some cypress trees, probably Chamaecyparis actually, and the Little Gem Magnolias interspersed between. But this time of year, deer like to do their rubbing. So a deer had actually come up to the tree and knocked off some branches that were kind of the younger branches. So I looked at it and I thought, well, those branches are just going to die. So I picked up a couple of them and I've got some cuttings off of them. So, and here's what I've got. These are about 8 inches in length. I trimmed off the top bud here that would have turned into a flower bud, because when you're doing a cutting, you don't want to exert energy into the flower bud area. You want it to be putting on roots. And I've trimmed off most of the leaves, but I'm probably going to pull off a couple others. I see a couple leaves that may be dying here in the middle. And so I'd like to reduce the amount of stress that goes on the plant. Now, why I'm doubtful these are actually going to work is typically magnolia cuttings are best done in the spring when they're more like greenwood cuttings. This is definitely not a greenwood cutting, although it is first year growth. You can tell there that there is a little bit of green on the wood right here. It's got a lot more of the softer part of the stem up there as well. So, there's a chance, there's always a chance, but magnolia cuttings tend to have a very low rooting rate as it is. And so you may end up doing, I mean, if you did 50 of them, you might get 5. I really don't know. I haven't successfully ever done one of these, but I thought it's worth an attempt. So let's go. All right, so what I'm going to do here first is I'm going to set this down and I'm going to create a slit right here at the end of this cutting, and the purpose of that is to add a little bit more cambium layer that can potentially callus and then create roots. The calluses are kind of this white growth that appears as the cutting is starting to heal, and it's full of all kinds of cells that can start to trigger rooting. And so we want that to happen as much as possible to create those roots. And I'm going to use this rooting hormone right there, the Clonex, because it's got a higher concentration of rooting hormone than the powder stuff that I've been using. So I've got one cutting like that, I've got 2 cuttings, and I've got a 3rd cutting that will do. That's all I was able to take from the cuttings that were knocked down by the deer. So right here, you can see I've got a slit right down the middle. It goes all the way through both sides. In this particular cutting, if you look here, it's got a node there, a node there, a node there, a node there. Usually the closer the nodes are, the more rooting hormones and general hormones are in that area. And so it's usually better if you have closer distances between your nodes. So I'm going to do the same thing over here to this one. And I got to hold it steady, so I'm going to put the camera down a minute. All right, and there we go. That's 2 of the 3. I'm going to go ahead and take care of the 3rd one. Okay, so you can see there I've got the 3 cuttings all cut, ready to go. And the next step is just dipping them into the rooting hormone. And then I'm going to put them over here in this flat. This, I've got a combination of other things going on here. Some experiments with some hemlock and, of course, just some typical stuff, some viburnums and things like that I do a lot of. Little rows there. But I've got one cell. I'm going to stick these 3 into that one cell in this flat. It is a peat mixture on the bottom and then sand on top of that. So I went ahead and I peeled off all but 2 leaves on this particular cutting, and I'm going to give that a dip into the rooting hormone. You can see there it comes off with this kind of purple covering, kind of thick, and then I'm just going to slide it in here. You can use a dipper if you want to, but this is already moist, so it really goes in there quite easy. In this one I need to remove a couple more leaves. That's way too many if I just want to have 2 leaves on it. There's quite a few there, and there's some, you see a little bit of browning on the leaves. I'm going to take those out because I think those may be compromised. So on that one, I ended up leaving 3 leaves on it. So we'll see how that does comparing to the 2 leaves. There we go. And then this one there, again, the same setup. We've got 5 leaves to start from. I'm definitely taking that one off right there because of that brown spot that's starting to happen. So there we go. We've got 2 leaves left. Do the dip. Notice that it's all over that slit area. You can see the slit through the goo right here. And we'll drop that in. Now I'm just going to keep these out with these others here, just on this table. And it's underneath the shade of this Japanese maple right up there. So it won't get direct sun all the time. It'll be kind of in a semi-shady spot, but it will get lots of moisture from the just regular winter environment. So hopefully that come spring we'll get to see some rooting on these. To be perfectly honest, I'm not extremely optimistic, but I thought, hey, it's worth a shot. These are going to die anyway if I don't do anything about it, so I may as well give it a try. And so we'll see if this is actually going to work or if it won't. The odds are against me on this because it's not the ideal cutting and what other people have had success on, and the time of year. Plus there's also that idea that maybe it's been off the tree for too long before it could actually do some rooting. These might have already passed the point of being able to start roots. But we'll see. It's worth a shot. I find that with plant propagation that you need to experiment a lot in order to find out what actually works and what doesn't. You can go and look in the books, you can listen to what people do, you can watch YouTubers online doing different things, but until you actually do it, you're not getting the full experience and learning how to do it. So I just encourage you to go out there, try something. If it's not ideal, see if it'll work. There's a lot of different conditions that plants can root in, and it's just a matter of finding the one that works best for you and for that plant. So I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. If this video was helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.